I'm in a masonry alleyway, and I'm in a very unusual location between multiple buildings that has evidence of multiple times of remodeling, repairs, construction. I'm in a back storage area behind what is currently the Mare Island Museum, which has a build date of 1854, and I have found maybe the best pictures of the sub-foundation, which is not currently at street and sidewalk level, pretty much throughout the entire island. So I'm going to walk through here and show you a few of the arches, some of the blocking up of windows, doors, other arches. Pretty interesting. And then I'll take you around a tour of some of the other significant buildings here on the island. Let's have a peek. A really hard stone, quarried with mortar, with very long sandstone footings, or maybe you could call it a stone joist if you wanted to. And then this building is currently occupied by a forklift company, and the interior painted wall is actually the old exterior wall of the original 1854 build. And they're very interesting, and it's got some outstanding brick details up underneath the edge. So pretty interesting. A lot of time and effort went into this. And other doorways that are no longer in use. You're just in a really interesting little area where almost no one has ever been or seen in 50 years, 100 years, I don't know, very long time. So anyway, it goes inside their building, and I'll see you out front. Back out front, I'll show you some of the footing here as we walk along on the way up to the museum, which is currently closed with a very unsatisfying note on the door with no plans to reopen. But anyway, let's walk on down there. So here the sidewalk and asphalt is built up, and all of the sub-foundation is completely gone and lost. And there would really be no way to know that unless you were down on the corner of the building, which is still exposed. And there's some other buildings that are very similar. But notice the detail on the front of the building. And you can see all the nice archwork, all the windows that are in. There's a very large service door, very interesting door. And this is actually a cannon. Some sort of a battleship that looks like they had a real hard time cutting off. And if you go around here, pretty interesting. There's the loading mechanism. It's like those threads crank it in there. Quite a large gun. Some large chains over here. But one thing I noticed about the windows on this side of the building is, the window sills rather, is they have been changed. The windows were changed, added, and they used a cement instead of around the other side, and many of the other buildings all the way up to multiple floors, where each one of these large sills is actually a large cut granite piece instead. So it becomes a quarried and machined piece, and this obviously was at another time. But you can see the abilities they had to produce a somewhat attractive remodel in a window. Very poor, very, very bad. Just cement smeared everywhere, terrible, all the way down the entire building. So this is currently the entrance to what was the Railroad Museum. So I'm at 1100 Railroad, and there's a commemorative anchor. Looks like it might be carved out of sandstone. It says built 1855. The entrance, and then I'll show you this terrible note, and we'll move on to another building. potential structural problems. 1854. Survived every earthquake. Current industry around all sides. No, it's way too dangerous to show the public anything about this place until further notice. So-called Farragut Plaza, and this, or Building 47, is a little plaque, the little fascies action on the sides. So this walkway is pretty interesting. It's all granite risers, all huge pieces. Each one's its own separate slab, and then each one of the end pieces is a solid piece of white granite, and has really nice machine marks all over it. Very uniform, fantastic. And then the railings on the side are very large, interesting granite pieces off this building. So as we walk up, notice these terrible concrete hexagonal pavers, but the curb is actually long granite sections. There's a great example of the original hexagonal sidewalk just a moment from here. Quite a difference. So here's the large building. Seems to be closed, boarded up. Huge, lots of arches. There's foundation below grade, and some of the old windows are actually cemented up. I noticed right away that the entrance to this building, the entire porch area, is completely added on, and the pieces up near the door are sawn off. It's a nice big door, and then we're going to head down the street a little further, keep going. So we're behind the bushes at the front of this building, but you notice that there's we have all the ground level and deeper windows. The foundation's not visible on this one. This is plaster over bricks near the windows, and all the window sills, you can these are granite, and you can see the machine marks on each one of them. Pretty interesting. You come out of here and you can see the cracking plaster that was over the brick. And you come down here, more bad plaster, but notice here's a real good look at a piece of the corner of the granite. This one here is actually a corner piece. So coming out of the bush, come around the corner, and you can see an add-on. This building is an add-on. And then at the end, exactly the kind of building that I would expect to see in 1854. Well below grade, and you can see that all of the sub-foundation of this large brick building has been covered up with very ugly plaster and cement, and I'm sure it's very similar foundation to what we saw over at the other building. But as you look up from this alleyway, every windowsill is a nice cut granite piece, and then the entire run along the building there's like a divider, and you can see that it's granite. It goes around, and it's just part of the decor of the building. It goes all the way around the entire building. So these are large granite sections. And then over here, have a look. This is pretty good. Don't know if you're able to see this. That's a big win. This one has some damage, but it's probably when they attached this other structure. It's probably from them and terrible construction efforts. All right, up above Railroad Avenue, we can get a number of big brick buildings in our sights. So this is building 121, which we'll look at later. It has a very interesting sub foundation. I haven't really investigated that yet. But notice over here, this is a modern brick building, and you can just tell that it is not done by master craftsmen. It's ugly, and it has cracking concrete, terrible. And then back to the 1800s. We'll just look at some of the amazing archwork. Then just a little ways down, we've got building 65, building 45, building 46 in the distance, which is actually the museum. And then back over here, we have the old original construction at the top of the stairs, which was added to the newer modern construction, which appears to all be abandoned. Very obvious on the granite. Nice granite sills. Every window, top and bottom. Alright, so this is building 46 in the main screen, and you can see where it comes from the corner at sidewalk level, the sub foundation, completely subterranean, and as it slopes downward, you can see the cut stone and sandstone sub foundation that the bricks are built on. And immediately you can tell that these windows have been changed, and they're concrete, and they're terrible. Every single one of them is a redo, and you can just see that it's awful. It's really poor craftsmanship. Not like the original on many of them, which still have the large granite sills, such as this one. So you come over here, and you've got fantastic machined white granite, all the sills. Even you look down here, you've got a granite foundation showing right through the ground. Pretty interesting. A lot of granite work was done. You can see this is a cement curbing that the asphalt has gone up to. Very uninteresting. But there's a change. This is blue painted granite now. Those are machined granite curbs. And this here at the building, you can see the granite sub foundations are very evident, and then there's some sort of a large blue stone which is showing through. Let me go back to these curbs. We're right near a very interesting place. All granite curb work. Very nice curb work. And here is where new construction has been added to the large brick building. And you can tell that it's really boring. It's I'm not quite sure what they were thinking. Here they added on to some sort of a concrete structure that's related to all the suspension work. So we're right near the dry dock now. So quite a bit of activity here. And then back to the brick building. Let's keep going. Just wanted to show a little bit of the close-up work of the sub foundation. And you can see some hard stone intermixed with some granite even in the mortar. Some granite in here. But then there's this softer sandstone, large blocks. And then on top, we have the large main brick construction. And then once again, this windowsill has been replaced with concrete, as have the rest of the lower level. Come over here. Very big door. And here is one of the warehouse doors. And it looks like the warehouse, which was added later, is very poor construction. You can see right where they added, right where they started. We're back at the back section, directly facing the water of Building 46, which was the museum. And there's a lot more of the foundation, sub-foundation exposed here, but still we cannot see what this is actually standing on originally. And these windows have been removed, and there's a very nice door here. A big door. More of the sub foundation, and then it continues on with some other very interesting and nice brickwork. Different style brick, slightly larger and less refined grout joints, repair work to the arch. Now this one here, the window sills are all granite. So large white granite. I like the detail work on this specific building. Has nice detail up where it's a lot of intricate brickwork to create that molding. That's something that's usually seen indoors, made out of wood. Still difficult work, but they were very good with it. And then we come down to the rest of the building. You see some huge entries to this one, and this one's unique too. So all the sills are granite, as are the window sills, but this one has large granite pieces that run the foundation. So this large granite piece, but then as you notice, it's sitting down on top of this sandstone, which is extremely fragile. It's just crumbling, but you can see it has machine marks, tool marks, and you walk along and it continues. There's more. All of the granite pieces, you might be able to see it here, you can see the hopefully you can see the saw marks on all of this. So this was done by machine. This was not hand done, and these are very refined. And when this particular door may have been added or repurposed, then we have the concrete added for the doorway. To finish up my Mare Island brick tour at Building 77. So here at the front door along the street, you can see the opening. There's just cement. I noticed over here that the door goes well below the cement. We'll see exactly why. So as the asphalt dips away, the foundation is revealed, and it drops down quite a ways. Once again, this one here, all granite sills, every single one of them, no replacements. And the entire foundation is granite, as is the porch area. But this one here is a full-size door. Full-size door. It looks to be 12 feet. Maybe 12 feet. Pretty interesting. So as it goes down, you'll see in the middle of the middle of brick 77, another big door. And that's quite a step up for me. Too big of a step. Huge door. But then over here there's a balcony. A balcony. And this used to be a doorway. It came out onto a little balcony, and that is also a 10 to 12 foot tall door on the second floor. But it's no surprise. We've seen it. But notice the discoloration and tremendous weather of the bricks below the windowsills. You see the mortar is eroded, and you can see a definite color change all the way to the corner of the building. Pretty neat. But the granite has got some extreme weathering. Typically, you only see this type of an effect on granite when it's subjected to extreme heat, and that would give it a surface which is popular in the trades as flamed granite. So when it takes this high heat, it shales apart and bursts and creates a new surface. So this is hollow. All the machine marks are evident. The entire thing has machine marks, and it's quite good. And then as it opens up and we continue down, yeah, have a look. So huge sill, huge door, and the sub foundation is revealing itself here quite nicely. And here again is the machined, tooled, very finely refined work, extremely fragile. This stuff you can pull apart with your fingernails. If you take a key or a rock hammer, and stuff is just crumbling. Ancient. And then up here they built a ramp, and you can see the thickness of the granite. This is part of the foundation, and right below, very good condition. So it actually almost has a basalt texture to it, where the other is becoming more of a decomposed granite in its nature. So this is still hard. So this side, for whatever reason, has not been subjected to the same amount of wear as the more northern side. Then the access ramp, while this building 77 was in use, so we see they have built this ramp all the way up to the very high step, and then we have a double big door. So all the doors are for big people, without exception. So it's quite a fun day today. There's really, everywhere you look, there's some huge buildings, very huge, just not to be believed the amount of labor that was going on down here at some point with masons, the actual installers. I mean, look at the size of this thing. Look down the road, this is just a monstrosity. It's just huge. And it just has all the interesting features. So back to 77, maybe from this angle, you can see the discoloration of the brick at the lower sill line of the windows, where obviously the grout and the mortar, some of the brick itself. Some of the brick itself has taken some damage, and it extends the length of the building from about face shoulder height down. And this is also the side that has some of the flamed granite, some of the type of popping of a surface which is normally solid. Once it goes to that ultra high heat, it expands and shales apart, and sometimes it's nice looking, but this was not intentional. And all the machine marks are clearly visible. So when you start considering the weight of this stone and where this stone came from, so granite weighs about 180 pounds per cubic foot, and each of these pieces that are the sub foundation are about 8 feet long. I don't know how far they go into the building, but obviously they're as thick as the brick wall. I was able to look in the window, and it's possible that the entire floor is made of these granite slabs and then paved, but I don't know. So this piece here, we'll say it's 8 foot by 1 foot by 1 foot. Not a lot of cubic feet. So that'll be the math equation. I'm not going to try to do it in my head at the moment. Hey, look at this. So listen to how hollow it is. It's just falling apart. Just falling apart. So all the way down, missing mortar, discoloration of the brick. The brick has seemed to have suffered a lot more wear on this end. First time I've noticed it. The curb is actually made of granite here too, and looks like there's an old brick patio here. Pretty nice. So that's going to be my presentation for Mare Island. I hope you enjoyed it. There's so many more things to do here. I've only been here for a few hours, and it could take all day, several days. And the stories here are interesting, and the things to see are quite good. It's definitely worth coming down. Almost no one around. Almost no one around. We'll see you soon.